The Enigma of Earth's Empty Seat. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with an ethereal light as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for the emergency session. Massive crystal pillars supported a dome that revealed the spiral arms of the galaxy beyond, a constant reminder of what they were sworn to protect. Ambassador Thalvex of the Arcturian Confederation tapped a slender finger against the polished surface of the central table. His iridescent scales caught the light with each agitated movement. For the 6th time in as many cycles, I must draw attention to the vacant seat, he announced, voice resonating through the chamber. The human delegate's position remains empty while anomalies spread throughout the Orion arm. The Earth's seat, positioned prominently at the circular table, had remained unoccupied for nearly 3 centuries. What was once considered a formality, a respectful nod to a species thought to have retreated into isolation, now felt like an ominous void at the heart of galactic governance. High Chancellor Jolera, the ancient Phalian whose species had helped found the Council millennia ago, raised a hand for silence. Her luminous eyes surveyed the assembled delegates. The human absence has been a matter of record for generations, she stated, her melodic voice carrying a note of caution. What troubles me is the timing of these anomalies and the growing whispers among our member worlds. The holographic display at the center of the chamber activated, revealing a map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated locations where the anomalies had been detected, spatial distortions, gravitational inconsistencies, and strange energy signatures that defied explanation. Most disturbing was their pattern. They formed a spiral, gradually moving inward from the galaxy's outer regions toward the heavily populated core worlds. The scientific consensus remains inconclusive, reported Nex 417, the cybernetic representative of the Mechanid Collective. However, our probability matrices indicate a 97.3% chance that these phenomena are not natural in origin. A murmur swept through the chamber. Ambassador Krival of the warrior Tereki stood abruptly, his massive frame casting a shadow across the table. Why do we continue this charade? He growled. For centuries we have maintained this empty seat, this monument to a species that abandoned their responsibilities to the galaxy. Now strange occurrences threaten our territories, and still we dance around the obvious connection. High Chancellor Jolera's expression remained impassive. And what connection might that be, Ambassador? That the humans knew something, Krival asserted. That they withdrew from galactic affairs not out of weakness or fear, but because they discovered something so threatening that isolation was their only recourse. Silence fell over the assembly. It was a theory that had circulated in hushed conversations for decades, but rarely voiced in official proceedings. Ambassador Elodia of the Scythian Republic, known for their diplomatic skill, spoke next. Let us not forget that humanity was always different from the rest of us. Their homeworld existed at the nexus of several spatial anomalies that many of our scientists still cannot explain. Their technology, while crude by our standards, often operated on principles that seemed to bridge conventional understanding. Indeed, contributed Ambassador Relner of the Quantum Minds, his form shifting between states of matter as he spoke. Humans possessed an intuitive grasp of quantum mechanics that even my people found remarkable. Their absence from this council coincided with their development of theoretical physics that approached what we now consider forbidden knowledge. High Chancellor Jolera activated a secure protocol, causing the chamber's privacy fields to engage. The ambient light dimmed, and even the view of the galaxy beyond the dome darkened. What I am about to share has been classified at the highest level for 3 centuries, she announced. When humanity withdrew from the council, they left behind a sealed message to be opened only under specific conditions. The spread of these anomalies has triggered those conditions. A hush fell over the chamber as the ancient Phalian produced a small crystalline object. It pulsed with an inner light as she placed it on the table. With a gesture, she activated it. A hologram materialized, a human figure dressed in what appeared to be ceremonial attire from Earth's final days in the Council. Admiral Eliza Chen, the last human delegate. If you are viewing this message, the hologram began. Then the warnings we discovered have begun to manifest. The void cascade has begun. The human's expression was grave, her eyes reflecting a knowledge that seemed to weigh upon her. 3 centuries ago, our deep space quantum observatories detected a disturbance in the fabric of reality at the galaxy's edge. Our scientists determined that what we were witnessing was not merely a threat to Earth, but to all sentient life in the galaxy. We called it the void cascade, a progressive collapse of space-time that consumes everything in its path. The hologram shifted to show simulations of the phenomenon, a wave of nothingness that devoured stars, planets, and the very vacuum of space itself. Our models predicted that the cascade would remain dormant for centuries before beginning its advance toward the galactic core. We brought our findings to the Council, but our warnings were dismissed as human paranoia, our evidence regarded as insufficient. Ambassador Thelvex shifted uncomfortably. Many species had considered humans prone to exaggeration and fear, their short lifespans making them seem perpetually anxious about threats both real and imagined. Faced with this dismissal, the hologram continued. Humanity made a difficult choice. We withdrew from galactic affairs entirely, focusing all our resources on understanding the cascade and developing countermeasures. We knew isolation would breed mistrust, perhaps even hostility, but saving the galaxy took precedence over our reputation. The council chamber remained deathly quiet as the implications sank in. If you are seeing this message, you now have proof that our warnings were valid. The anomalies you're detecting are merely the precursors. The void cascade itself is still advancing, hidden behind these more visible disturbances. The hologram of Admiral Chen leaned forward, her expression intensifying. There is one more truth you must know, one that explains why Earth's seat in the Council has remained vacant all these years. Earth is no longer in its original position in space. Gasps and exclamations erupted around the table. To conduct our research safely, we moved our entire solar system. The hologram expanded to show a stellar map. Earth's solar system had been relocated to a previously unexplored region of space, shielded by a massive nebula that blocked conventional detection methods. This was not an act of cowardice, but of necessity. The technology we developed to combat the cascade required isolation. Its power, if misused, could cause as much destruction as the threat we face. The hologram flickered slightly. We have spent centuries preparing. Now that the cascade has awakened, so too shall humanity return to the galactic stage. A vessel carrying Earth's representatives is already en route to the Council. They bring with them both knowledge and technology that may be our only hope. The message ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. Ambassador Krival was the first to recover. Moving an entire solar system. Impossible. Even our most advanced stellar engineering cannot accomplish such a feat. And yet, High Chancellor Jolera noted quietly, Earth is indeed missing from its cosmic coordinates. The implications were staggering. If humans had achieved such technological mastery 3 centuries ago, what might they be capable of now? Before further discussion could ensue, the chamber's alert system activated. A vessel of unknown configuration had appeared at the edge of the Council world's defense perimeter. It had bypassed all early warning systems, simply materializing as if from nowhere. The ship's design was unlike anything in Council records, sleek and angular, with surfaces that seemed to both absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. It broadcast a simple message on all frequencies. This is Captain Lyra Kendrick of the Terran vessel Horizon. Earth has returned. We request an immediate audience with the full Galactic Council. As the message echoed through the chamber, the delegates exchanged looks of astonishment and trepidation. Humanity had indeed returned, but whether as saviors or harbingers remained to be seen. Humanity's return and the cosmic revelation. The Council chamber had been reconfigured for the arrival of the human delegation. Security protocols were at maximum. though many questioned their effectiveness against a species that could apparently relocate entire star systems and bypass the most sophisticated detection grids in known space. When the humans entered, the assembly fell silent. They were not what most had expected. Captain Lyra Kendrick led the group, tall and commanding, but also surprisingly young by council standards. Her dark skin contrasted with silver-white hair that seemed to float slightly, as if subjected to its own gravitational rules. Behind her walked 5 others, each carrying what appeared to be simple metallic cases. "High Chancellor, esteemed representatives," Kendrick began, her voice clear and measured. "On behalf of Earth and all human colonies, I thank you for receiving us." High Chancellor Jolara inclined her head. "You arrive at a moment of crisis, Captain Kendrick. Admiral Chen's message has left us with many questions, and we have come with answers," Kendrick replied, "though I suspect many of you will find them difficult to accept." She gestured, and one of her companions activated a device. The chamber's lighting dimmed as a holographic representation of the galaxy materialized between them, far more detailed than the Council's own systems could generate. "What you call anomalies, we call wave echoes, ripples in space-time caused by the void cascade as it consumes reality itself." Kendrick indicated the spiral pattern. "The cascade is not a natural phenomenon. It is a weapon." Murmurs of disbelief filled the chamber. "A weapon?" Ambassador Kreval challenged. "What species could possibly create something capable of unraveling reality?" "Not a species," Kendrick corrected. "At least, not as we understand life. We call them the axiom, entities that exist in dimensions perpendicular to our own. When our scientists first detected them 3 centuries ago, we believed they were simply observing our universe. We were wrong." The hologram shifted to display mathematical equations and multidimensional models that few in the chamber could fully comprehend. "The axiom perceive our reality as an infection in the greater multiverse, a cancer that must be excised. The void cascade is their surgical tool." Dr. Seo Jin, one of the human scientists, stepped forward. "Traditional weapons and defenses are useless against the cascade. It doesn't destroy matter in the conventional sense. It removes the affected regions from the framework of reality altogether. Once consumed, there is no evidence that anything ever existed there at all." The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. High Chancellor Jolara raised her hand for silence. "If what you say is true, how can we possibly defend against such a threat?" Captain Kendrick nodded to another member of her team, who opened one of the metallic cases. Inside was a device no larger than a hand, containing what appeared to be a swirling vortex of light suspended in crystal. "This is a reality anchor," Kendrick explained. "The culmination of 3 centuries of human research. It establishes a quantum lock on our dimensional coordinates, making them immutable to the cascade's effects." Ambassador Thelvex leaned forward skeptically. "You expect us to believe that this small device can stop a force capable of unraveling space-time?" "Not this device alone," Kendrick clarified. "This is merely a prototype. The full anchor network requires thousands of these units positioned strategically throughout the galaxy, creating a lattice of stable reality that the cascade cannot penetrate." Dr. Jin continued the explanation. "Each anchor creates a field of stabilized space-time, approximately 1 light-year in diameter. When networked, these fields merge and reinforce each other, establishing a permanent barrier against dimensional incursion." "And you've tested this technology?" asked Nex 417 of the Mechanic Collective. "We have," confirmed Kendrick. "Earth's solar system is currently protected by a network of 57 anchors. We've successfully repelled 7 cascade incursions over the past century." She paused, her expression somber. "But we cannot protect the entire galaxy alone. The full network requires resources and positioning that only a united Galactic Council can provide." Ambassador Elodia frowned. "If this threat is as serious as you claim, why did humanity withdraw completely? Why not share this knowledge?" "Because of the anchor's dual nature," Kendrick replied gravely. The same technology that stabilizes reality can also be used to manipulate it. In the wrong hands, reality anchors could be weaponized to create artificial black holes, establish permanent wormholes, or even selectively erase regions of space from existence. The implications were clear. Humanity had withdrawn not just to develop a defense, but to prevent a potential arms race that could have destroyed the galaxy before the cascade ever reached it. "We need your trust," Kendrick continued, "and we understand that trust must be earned. That's why we're prepared to share our technology under strict protocols and oversight." The council chamber fell silent as the delegates processed this information. It was Ambassador Creval who spoke first, his warrior's instinct cutting to the heart of the matter. "Why keep Earth's seat empty all these years? Why not simply explain your absence?" Kendrick exchanged glances with her team before responding. "The empty seat was a reminder, and a test," she said quietly. "A reminder of what happens when warnings go unheeded, and a test to see if the Council would eventually recognize its significance." She stepped closer to the central table, her gaze sweeping across the assembled representatives. Earth's absence created a void in the Council, a persistent question that could not be ignored. Each time you convened and saw that empty seat, it planted a seed of doubt, of curiosity. That curiosity kept the memory of humanity alive in galactic consciousness, even as generations passed and the details of our departure faded into legend. High Chancellor Jolara's ancient eyes studied the human captain. "A psychological tactic," she observed, "subtle, yet effective." "We needed the galaxy to be receptive when we returned," Kendrick acknowledged. "If we had simply explained our departure, our warnings would have been forgotten within a generation, dismissed as another strange human fancy. The empty seat ensured we would not be forgotten." The council deliberated for hours after the human presentation. Debates raged, accusations flew, and ancient prejudices surfaced. Yet as the evidence mounted and the void cascade's advance became undeniable, a consensus gradually emerged. In a historic vote, the Galactic Council formally accepted humanity's return and authorized the deployment of the Reality Anchor Network. Earth's empty seat would remain no longer. The ceremony to reinstate humanity to the Council was brief but profound. Captain Kendrick took her place at the table, the first human to do so in 3 centuries. "The irony is not lost on us," she said as she addressed the assembly. "Humanity withdrew to save a galaxy that didn't believe it needed saving. We became the boogeymen in your stories, the mysterious species that abandoned their responsibilities." She placed her hand on the table, activating the integration protocols that would once again link Earth to the galactic community. But perhaps that was necessary. Perhaps the galaxy needed to fear Earth's empty seat, to wonder what we knew that you did not, to question the complacency that had settled over the Council. That fear prepared you for the truth. As the installation ceremony concluded, reports began flooding in from observatories throughout the galaxy. The anomalies were intensifying, the void cascade accelerating its advance. The time for debate was over. Now came the true test, whether the divided species of the galaxy could unite behind humanity's plan. As Captain Kendrick looked around at the assembled delegates, she saw something that had been absent for too long: hope. The empty seat that had once terrified the Galactic Council now offered its salvation. Filled at last by those who had never truly abandoned their place in the cosmos, but had merely stepped back to see the larger picture. Humanity had returned, carrying both a warning and a solution. And in that moment, as the reality anchor in the council chamber hummed to life, stabilizing the very fabric of space around them, the galaxy understood at last why Earth's absence had been necessary, and why its return would change everything.